Happy Man Talk Monday, men. I'm Greg, smiling leader encourager and a connector of dots. There's more to my identity statement, but for a quick introduction, I'll leave it at that. Hope you're doing well and have spent time leaning into your true identity. Before diving into what I want to share this week, I want to encourage you to like and follow the Braveheart channel you're watching this from, and follow the links to get more engaged in Braveheart and find information about joining an upcoming Braveheart intensive. I got a question for you. Have you ever had a high maintenance friend? Someone that shows up unannounced, uninvited, very inconvenient times? They seriously can't read the room. They shamelessly walk into spaces you don't want them in. Maybe you have a coat on that reeks of smoke, or muddy shoes, or tracking everywhere. Just to be clear, I'm making up this person in my life, lest a friend watches this and wonders, is he talking about me? I want to talk to you about something that should not surprise you. If you make the commitment to walk in your true identity and follow the path that it leads you in, you're going to discover some amazing things, including a high maintenance friend that shows up a lot. This dude's name is Discouragement. And like it or not, it should not surprise you when it shows up. In fact, if it doesn't show up, that might be the surprising thing. Lest you think I got this figured out, I want you to know this dude has been showing up for me almost every day in one form or another. And to be honest, it's been catching me off guard. But I'm personally trying to go through a paradigm shift about this, and maybe it'll help you. In one form or another, something will hit me square in my vulnerabilities, doubts or insecurities, and then it will way overstay its welcome. But I'm starting to realize discouragement is not proof that you're off track. In fact, often it's evidence that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, but it never feels that way. It shows up like this high maintenance friend who walks in the door, unannounced, uninvited, doesn't take his shoes off, tracks mud across the floor, sits down in your chair, and then starts talking like he owns the place. He assumes access, he assumes authority, he assumes he belongs. That's what discouragement feels like. It just walks in. But I think there's another way to look at this. Sometimes discouragement is reality in disguise. It's wearing a coat that reeks of the smoke of fear and the muddy shoes of insecurity. Reality itself isn't the enemy. Reality says, this is hard, this is uncertain, this is bigger than you. That's just reality. But discouragement adds something to it. It adds, you're not enough. You're going to fail. You should pull back. It's too late for you. This was a mistake. That's fear. That's the shadow mission. So I have to learn to create boundaries. I need to courageously welcome reality into the room, but not let discouragement make itself at home. When reality shows up and mathematically things seem like they might not work or you're behind, I need to say, you can come in, but that coat of fear stays at the door. The shoes of inadequacy come off. You don't get to sit in my chair and displace my authority over what God has called me to do or who he's called me to be. It's not like we cover our ears and are like, nah, I can't hear you, to facts or data. I need to look at what is real, but I will not wear the fear. And this matters most when we step into faith. Several weeks ago, our pastor was speaking out of the book of Mark in the passage where Jesus is talking to the father of a demon-possessed boy. Jesus says to the father, everything is possible for one who believes. And immediately the boy's father exclaimed, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. Have you ever been there? You do believe, and yet at the same time you've got unbelief. Pastor Mark used this graphic in our life. We're somewhere between 0% certain and 100% certain. There's this whole continuum right here. The reason is like solid ground. It makes sense. It's measurable. It feels safe. And then there's faith. Faith is like stepping into the invisible. It's like stepping onto an invisible bridge. In this message, Pastor Mark gave this definition of faith. Faith is reason gone courageous. Faith is not irrational. It's not reckless. It's not abandoning thought. It's when reason gets you to the edge, and faith is the courage that takes the step that reason cannot guarantee. The attack on your spirit will almost always be the same. It will try to pull you back into the quote unquote safety of reason and comfort, back to what you control, back to what you can predict, back to what doesn't require risk. But sometimes that safety is just fear dressed up as wisdom. And if we live there long enough, we don't live a life of faith. We live a life managed by fear of risk, fear of the cost of obedience, fear of looking foolish. There's that moment in Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade when Indiana is standing at the edge of the cliff of what looks like nothing. There is no visible bridge. From his perspective, it's a drop. Everything is telling him there's nothing there. But yet, after reasoning it out and looking at the cost of not doing it, he takes that step anyways. And when he steps, that bridge that was always there becomes visible. It's his faith. Faith is not stepping into nothing. Faith is stepping to where God has already built something. You just can't see it yet. What does Hebrews 11, 1 and 2 say? Faith is the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. And that's what faith asks of us. And then discouragement stands at the edge with you and says, there's no bridge, you're going to fall. This is irresponsible, go back. But here's what we need to understand. Discouragement, showing up the edge doesn't mean you're wrong. It might mean you're exactly where courage is required. Real danger is not that discouragement walks in the door. The real danger is that we let it redecorate the house. The real danger is retreat. Retreat into comfort. Retreat into certainty. Retreat into a smaller life. A life lived only in reason can look responsible, but sometimes it's just fear wearing respectable clothes. So when discouragement shows up, and it will, don't panic. Don't assume you miss God. Don't assume you're failing. Don't evict reality. Just remove the coat and the shoes off the data. Look at what's real. Acknowledge the risk. Feel the weight of it and then listen. And ask God, what do you know about this that you want me to know? And then walk that direction. Because if you're discouraged, it may not mean you're failing. It may mean you're standing at the edge of the invisible bridge, and that's exactly where faith begins. Discouragement is literally courage leaking out. This is a constant pattern in Scripture of whom God calls. He asks Elijah, what are you doing here? Don't sit in your discouragement. Encourage yourself. Encourage others. And this might align more with my identity than yours, but when I get discouraged, I will often ask Jesus to show me someone who needs encouragement. And almost every time someone comes to mind, I'll shoot a text, and then you know what? Proverbs 11:25 says, he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Guys, I need this word. Living out here in the walk of faith is crazy sometimes. Sometimes it's crazy awesome. But there's an enemy of the soul that wants me to believe the shadow, wants me to die in doubt and insecurity, never take that step. It's not worth it. So sorry, my high maintenance friend. It's time for you to get out. So guys, let's go get them this week. Great things are ahead. Walk in faith.